Hi, this is David Chase Taylor of Truther.org and author of the Nuclear Bible. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the 10th anniversary of 9/11 and what it means to me and what my research has found. For those of you that don't know, I was a Bush Republican. I voted for Bush twice, believe it or not. And it wasn't until the summer of 2007, July specifically, that my research basically came into view on 9/11, and I found that the official story that we'd been told in the media was actually false. It's actually Building 7, the third tower that fell on 9/11, that really got me to start questioning the official narrative. Since that time, I've basically been researching 9/11 almost daily. I put up a website. I started a 9/11 truth group at my university, San Diego State, and I've basically been demanding questions or demanding answers and asking a lot of questions. And yeah, you know, a lot of people, they put up stickers and they fly flags today, especially being the 10th anniversary, but what we should really be doing is really asking the hard questions and who was really responsible. And today I'd like to share with you just a little bit of my research and to make sure that this never happens again to America and or for any country for that matter. So I'd like to talk to you today about what I like to call Israeli Al-Qaeda. And that term may sound offensive to some or ignorant to others, but what I would like to do is just take you through a brief history of terror attacks committed by the State of Israel. Starting in 1940, Zionist terrorists attacked a ship called the Patria in Haifa Harbor, and 240 Jewish refugees were killed and 172 were injured. This terrorist attack was to be blamed on the British, who were ruling Palestine at that time, for Zionist political gain. This terror attack backfired, and obviously the true culprits were exposed. The source, Wikipedia, you can look at that up. The King David Hotel bombing, this was basically the birth of modern terrorism. And dressed as Arabs, Zionist terrorists bombed the King David Hotel on July 22nd, 1946. Ironically, that's the same date that the Norway terror attacks just occurred this last summer. This bombing killed 91 and injured 46. And the leader of this terrorist plot, his name was Menachem Begin, and he coincidentally became the 6th Prime Minister of Israel. Another hotel bombing was called the Semiramis Hotel bombing in Jerusalem, and again dressed as Arabs, Zionist terrorists bombed this hotel on January 5th, 1948, killing at least 24 people. Coincidentally, the State of Israel became a nation on May 15th, or 14th, excuse me, a few months later. The Laban affair. This is another incident where Israeli terrorists dressed as Arabs again as part of Operation Susanna. They bombed a post office, a library, and a theater in Egypt, and they were going to be targeting Egyptian, American, and British targets. And this plan was exposed when one of the bombs went off in one of the gentleman's pockets. The Prime Minister, his name is Pinhas Laban of Israel, was actually forced to resign because of this incident. So this incident went up to the very top of the State of Israel and their government. The USS Liberty was a U.S. ship in the Mediterranean that was attacked by the State of Israel on June 8th, 1967. This attack, basically, it was unwarranted. It was a surprise attack. The U.S. ship was flying a big American flag, and this attack killed 34 soldiers and injured 170. And this ship was in international waters at the time. Let's see. So we have a history there, bringing us up to 9/11 and what happened on that day. Like I said before, I've been researching 9/11 for years, almost daily, and there's a lot of 9/11 information out there. People like Alex Jones say it's an inside job. CNN and Fox will tell you it's Arabs. But actually it's an Israeli Mossad operation, and this can be confirmed by mainstream sources. So let's see, before 9/11, 140 Israelis were arrested for suspected espionage targeting U.S. military bases, the DEA, FBI, Secret Service, ATF, etc. Evidence linking to 9/11 is classified, and after 9/11, 60 plus Israelis, some active Israeli military, were arrested for espionage and under the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2001. So they're spying on us, and let's look at what happened on the day of 9/11. All 9/11 airports were being secured by an Israeli company called ICTS, and Dulles, Logan, and Newark airports, where these 19 alleged Arab hijackers were allowed to board the plane. So they're in control of the airports, and let's see, on 9/11, a company called Audigo, which all Israelis have on their cell phones, or at least most of them, warned them. A mass text message went out 2 hours before the attack on 9/11, stating that there was going to be a terror attack at the World Trade Center. Now, Audigo had their headquarters 2 blocks away, and not one of these employees from Audigo forwarded this information to the U.S. government, and thousands of lives were lost because of it. And you have to ask yourself why. I mean, if you received a terror attack alert and you knew something was going to happen, as an American, I'm sure you would forward that information on. Let's see, some of the most damning evidence about 9/11 is there was Israeli Mossad, and for people that don't know, the Israeli Mossad is like the U.S. CIA. It's like basically a covert operation type of deal where they do different things that are basically classified. Well, Israel sent 5 Israeli Mossad agents to New York for 9/11, and they were caught videotaping the towers before the planes hit, and once the planes hit, they started taking pictures of a lighter in front of the towers in like a celebratory gesture, and they were jumping for joy and dancing on the roof of a van. And this was reported by many people calling into the New York Police Department. It was later found out that these were actually Mossad agents. And upon returning to Israel, they went on to Israeli television and said that their mission was to document the event. And you can go onto YouTube, go onto truther.org. We're going to have all these links here for all the evidence that I'm presenting here, and you can check it out yourself. But they were there to document the event, just kind of like Abraham Zapruder was there to document the JFK killing. But that's a whole another story. Let's see. One day after 9/11, a white van with 2,000 pounds of explosives full of Israelis was pulled over near the George Washington Bridge. Apparently there was going to be a follow-up attack the next day, and the George Washington Bridge was going to get destroyed. Luckily, aware law enforcement found this van, pulled it over, and 2 of the 5 Israelis arrested were Mossad agents. So we have them, the warnings before, we have them celebrating and videotaping, we have them follow-up attack. And interestingly, a shipping company moved out, an Israeli shipping company moved out of the towers a few months before 9/11, and there's a theory, we can't prove it yet, but there's a theory that that's where the explosives that were used in the demolition of the Twin Towers was housed. And when they re-outfitted the elevators, they used this as basically a warehouse for the explosives and for the operation, but that's a different story. Let's fast forward to the London attacks. Hours before the London bombing, the Israeli embassy in London received a warning that there was going to be a terror attack. And again, like 9/11, Variant Systems, an Israeli company, was in charge of all the CCTV footage of the London Underground, where the alleged 4 Muslim bombers went on the trains. To date, that footage has not been released, of course. So, just in closing, if you Google Israeli assassinations, you can see that since 1956, the Israeli Mossad has conducted over 75 political assassination operations all around the world. And no trial, no jury, no verdict, and no shame. I mean, these people are openly conducting assassination operations, killing thousands of innocent civilians in the process. When they'll decide to take out Obama or another U.S. president, who knows? But the point is that they have no shame about it, and you can go onto Wikipedia and look at this information for yourself. And most disturbing of all this evidence is Israel's the only modern nation that has refused to sign the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention Act, which is refusal to engage in offensive biological warfare, stockpiling and use of biological weapons. And they are also the only modern nation, first world nation, to fail to sign the 1970 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which restricts the proliferation of nuclear weapons. And for those people that don't know, Israel is one of the only Middle Eastern nations, aside from Pakistan, that has a nuclear arsenal. And and this is all off the record. They won't confirm or deny it, so it's all in the dark. And a quote I found regarding terrorism comes from Dan Brown, from Angels and Demons, and I thought it was so fitting in this context. Dan Brown states that terrorism is not an expression of rage. It is a political weapon. Remove a government's facade of infallibility, and you remove its people's faith. And just today, I just want to wrap it up by saying that, look, Israel had the means, the motive, and the opportunity to commit the acts of 9/11, as well as all these other terror attacks. And the United States has been fighting Israeli wars. We've been losing thousands and thousands of soldiers. We're going bankrupt in the process, carving up the Middle East for Israel, which has no declared borders. They're the only country in the world that doesn't have a declared border, so they're ever expanding throughout the Middle East. And they want to use American blood and treasure to expand their empire in the Middle East. And I've said this now, and I've said it before, that enough's enough. And we need to bring our troops home. We need to stop funding their wars. And we need to get a real investigation of 9/11 into who really was involved. And I just skimmed a little bit of the evidence regarding Israel on 9/11.